Hi, this is Mike. Hey, you know, the last video I did, I said that constipation was everybody's favorite topic. It's really not. The favorite topic is actually diarrhea. So I wanted to take a couple minutes. I understand that you've had some trouble with that. I want to help you solve it. Diarrhea is actually caused by one of four things in almost every single case. So the most these four reasons basically amount to prescription medications. Many of them are extremely dehydrating, aggravating, irritating to the bowels, including antibiotics can cause a high rate of diarrhea. The other causes are inflammation, bacterial infection, and improper bacterial flora in the gut. So between those four reasons, we will cover almost 99% of all cases of diarrhea. So once we know the cause, and your cause is almost certainly one of those four things, it also shows us exactly what we need to do to help you overcome that. So again, if you're taking a prescription medication and that is part of the cause of you suffering from diarrhea, then you can discuss that with your doctor. Often if it's a short-term medication like an antibiotic, the doctor will just tell you, hey, that's part of the deal. You just suffer through that for a certain number of days and then it's going to end. If it's inflammation or bacterial, then some of the supplements at Rachel's Tea, for instance, Rachel's Digestive Relief Tea or grapefruit seed extract, slippery elm, some of these other things. Some people even use a little fiber, but fiber is kind of like, it doesn't really fix anything. It may make things better in the very short term, like from hour to hour. So we don't really recommend that as a solution. But I would say that if you will look at the cause, are you going through a round of antibiotics or a heavy-duty prescription medication such as a biologic or other prescribed medicine, and your diarrhea started about that time, then that solution is obvious. You either endure it or discuss it with your physician and let him or her tell you what, if any, alternatives there are. If it's inflammation or infection-based diarrhea, or it has to do with your own intestinal flora not being sufficient to digest well the foods that you're eating, then that's something that's normally fixed by the pain-free foods catalyst avoidance diet or Rachel's Tea or slippery elm or grapefruit seed extract that are all available at Rachel's Tea. But again, most people most of the time can cure their own diarrhea with a or much less acid producing diet. And I would also mention, however, that if you suffer from diarrhea for more than 2 to 3 or 4 days, then you begin to risk a larger problem, a more serious problem, which is electrolyte depletion. So we've all seen once in a while, it tends to happen a few times a year, where someone playing a sport, engaged in some physical activity, especially a highly exertive physical activity like football or something like that, where a player who seemed normal that day and the month before drops and actually passes away because they had electrolyte depletion. So on the field where people are playing highly competitive sports, we're using up these electrolytes at an accelerated pace, and if they have anything else going on with their health, a flu or any kind of infection or heavy inflammation, and they're experiencing diarrhea and they just tough it out and go play ball, it's very dangerous because the electrolytes in our body, although they're just these mineral salts, these partial salts that are within the body that facilitate cell function, if our levels of these electrolytes become too low, it's actually fatal. And there are many electrolytes that can actually fall into that category. And so One of the things that Rachel offers at Rachel's Tea is a product called Effer, C-E-F-F-E-R-C. So it has all of the critical electrolytes. It has a vitamin C in a fairly large dose, and it's very effective at quickly replacing the electrolytes that have been lost, because the way diarrhea works is it's basically shooting your food through you undigested. Doesn't seem to be that big of a deal, except that electrolytes, vitamins, minerals, vitamin C, these are the vitamins and minerals and electrolytes that are the hardest to digest. They're the slowest to uptake into the body through the colon wall and to gain access into the bloodstream. So when we run low on those things that absorb the slowest, which is what happens when things are moving the fastest, then we need to supplement them in a very easy to absorb form, so that even if the drink itself, the F4C drink that you mix, is in your system just for minutes, you still absorb enough to give a significant impact and raise those electrolyte levels and keep you safe, keep you healthy, while you recover or correct whatever else is wrong that caused the diarrhea to begin with. So basically, you can read these solutions in the book. You can try these supplements from Rachel's Tea. You can get on our Catalyst Avoidance program, which begins to self-correct all of these digestive issues. But do one of these things and don't take diarrhea lightly. It actually is potentially fatal, and the main problem with it, like I just said, is electrolyte depletion. So at least replace those electrolytes. You can also go to the grocery store, by the way, and in whatever section they have it in, sometimes it's the baby section, sometimes it's just in the nutrition section, they'll have a product called Pedialyte, which is an electrolyte replacement for children or infants who are not doing well, who are sick, who are dehydrated, who are vomiting, who have diarrhea, or whatever. You can take that same product as well. There's usually also, at about half that price, there's some generic options. You can take those. They work just as well. Usually the ingredient list is identical. So there's some options for you relating to diarrhea. Please don't ignore diarrhea. You cannot go for weeks and weeks with diarrhea and not start suffering some serious health consequences. But if you follow the protocols that I've just given you, the options I've given you, and of course, if you've been seeing a doctor about these things, you're going to be fine. And in our protocol, we've actually taken people who have had diarrhea for 2 to 4 years, uncontrolled. Their doctors haven't been able to fix it. No matter what advice, no matter what over-the-counter medicine they've tried, we routinely take those people and move them beyond diarrhea and get them back to a good, healthy level of digestion. So please do one or all of the things that we're talking about here. And if you suffer from that, you're going to be fine. Thanks.